What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? The Celtic Warrior, James.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks. Episode 1. I'm Marsh. We're at WOTR the show. With me today, the other half of the legendary podcasting duo, the Ironics. We got Kevlar on the Rocks. What's up, Kevlar?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. We also got with us today from the chat to your screen through the saloon doors of the dive bar of the IWC. We got Grimreaper. What's going on, Grim?
What's going on, everybody? Senior contributor of Wrestling on the Rocks here live, for this fine Tuesday in September.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Senior contributor.
Wednesday? The Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
My holiday weeks always get jammed up, so. All right, well.
Yeah.
I think it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a question about the Dewdrop match, and I cannot find it on this thing. There it goes. Nope, that's not it. Well,
We already have a question. Woo!
yeah, we're hoping that you, as the senior contributor, is going to have the right answer, but we'll get there. I just trying to get it going. There we go. It's on the screen now, so I can see it in the background. Guys, let's start with something simple. By the way, for someone who's straight edge and never drinks or does drugs, how fucking drunk did CM Punk come off the other day?
I mean,
Hold on, guys. Look now. I need to tell you the answer to my question. It was the eating. The eating was really weird, but anyway,
The eating bothered me. We are going to, later today, me and Amanda, and anybody who wants to jump in, we'll let them. We're going to really talk about the scrum, the aftermath, the whole thing, because tomorrow night at Dive Bar, when we do episode 1 about the AEW pay-per-view and the NXT show, we don't want the whole thing to be muddled up talking about all this news going on. Plus, we have a feeling more news will be coming out, and we want to be able to tackle that too. But last night, I finally sat down and watched the whole scrum. And I'll be honest, like with all the reports about how it went, the little clips floating around, what I didn't realize, so I watched it in its entirety, is it's actually much worse than they make it sound. Like when you really watch it, he comes off so unprofessional in everything he says and does. He comes off childish. He's an absolute jerk. And like you were just alluding to, he's eating a fucking cupcake during it. And it's not like he's leaning back to eat it. He leans in as he's chomping on it. It's so disgusting to hear someone chewing to begin with. And he's over there sucking his fingers off into the mic, leaning in as he's gulping and shit. And I was like, dude, I'd fire him for that.
When I watched the entire scrum, I watched it pretty much twice over, because you know how when you watch something the first time, you're just like, I can't believe what I'm watching. And then the second time you dive into the details, like, you know, oh, wait, what is he referencing? What is she referencing? What is, you kind of go back and forth. And I tried looking at it from both ways. Storyline perspective, like, was this being, I'm a heel, I'm a face, versus what real life is, or behind the curtain, if you will. And you compare it, and just, it seemed like, you know, the phrase going into business for yourself has been trending over the last few days or last few weeks when it comes to AEW. And just, you know, when you hear going into business for yourself, like you take advantage of somebody in the ring, or you say something you're not supposed to be saying, or at least nothing that was planned to be said, you know, the unwarranted jabs during a promo. And, you know, especially when you heard like the whole Adam Page, CM Punk, you know, Tony Khan even making some comments. So just overall, just you see a baseline of just, you know what, if I have a live mic in my hand, I'm going to say what I want to say, when I want to say it, without repercussions, or at least repercussions that are fair across the board, or repercussions that, you know, we may or may not find out about.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, the amount of times he talks about going into business for yourself and how unprofessional it is, he's hypocritically doing all of that over and over again. So it just kept steamrolling. It was crazy. But we're going to dive in deep on that later on today. But I didn't want to pretend like it never happened or completely ignore it, because that would be a little weird. But there was a lot that did happen this week. So before we get into all that, though, let's do a little bit of what's in your glass. Kev, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Crown Peach and some tea.
Nice.
Refreshing.
Good. What do you got, Grim?
Well, I'm sticking with the diet green tea route. For those of you that are in the Northeast, some Turkey Hill diet green tea.
Oh, very good. I'm having some coffee. It's still early for me. And but it's also not too early. I'm also having some Barefoot hard seltzer.
It ain't day drinking unless you start in the morning.
That's right. That's right. But let's see, dude. You guys want to talk a little bit of WWE, where everybody's happy, morale is high, no one's going into business for themselves.
Well, everyone's coming to the business for themselves. With Triple H, just, you know, and I understand there's other bells and whistles and other situations, like, you know, there's other people helping, other creative in the back and all that. It just feels like the old phrase, it's a fresh coat of paint. Like, I feel like just, you know, a little, like, I just feel, I don't know if everyone, I'm feeling this in the ring with a lot of performers, more pep in the step, more just, like, I feel a little fire. Maybe also it might be rose-colored glasses as well for myself, but I'm just seeing there's just a little bit more of a pop in the ring, a little pop off the screen over these last 2 months or so that Triple H has been running the show. Overall, a very successful WWE NXT weekend. Overall, Labor Day was very successful for WWE, so all good.
Before we get into Clash, I do want to talk real quick on Smackdown. What we did get that was, we got a few things that were not Clash specific, so I think it's worth talking about. But the Viking Rules match opened the show, so we finally got that payoff.
Yes.
It was kind of like me and Kev were talking about last week. I was like, what the fuck is Viking Rules mean? Does it mean just have Viking stuff around the ring? It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Right.
Kev, I want to know from you real quick, what did you think of the Viking Rules match? And the intro with the screen and the clever camera angles to make it look like it was a boat.
I liked it. I like the aesthetics of, you know, making the boat look like it's going through the water at first.
Mhm.
And yeah, I like the setup, this little, I guess stage of the boat, right next to the ring, and then all the shields on the side. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Grim?
That was a banger of a match to open up the show, especially because a lot of some of the performers that were on there, they for the Viking Raiders and the New Day. I mean, this was a very personal rivalry over the last month or so. Injuring this guy. The New Day had the quick win. I think it was last week or a couple of weeks ago, like the escape win. And just finally, like this was just a big match. Both teams brought it. Obviously, New Day has the pedigree. Viking Raiders, they're essentially finding their footing again over the last few months. They're just being these brooding badasses that they deserve to be. Running from mythical monsters in a dumpster match or anything like that. Now they're just carnivores, just ready to just pounce on anybody in their way. So a strong victory for Viking Raiders.
It was pretty cool.
Yes.
And I thought that the New Day looked really good in it. I thought it was, of course, I mean, they're going to, but this match where I'm seeing all the Viking stuff ringside, I was like, this is going to get really silly and goofy. It's just going to be like their Miracle on 34th Street match they do every year, or their Halloween match where you just kind of go, okay, it's a food fight. That's funny, but I'm not really like in it. That was not the case here. This was real good, real quick, and both these tag teams are awesome.
Yeah, the match was great. Like, you put all four of these guys in the ring together, and it's going to be a good match. And to add the stipulations with the Viking rules and having the tables and the shields and all that stuff, like, just made it that much better.
What do you guys think about Ivar and his agility in terms of the moonsault, the off the top rope, I know it's a good part of the arsenal. I mean, sometimes, you want to say wrestling purist, when you're a big guy, you should never leave your feet kind of thing. What do you guys think about just Ivar using that in his arsenal, like the aerial assault, if you will? I find it more as maybe an exclamation point to his arsenal, but sometimes I don't know if that kind of is counterintuitive to he's a big guy, he should just stay on his feet.
I don't think he does it too much.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I don't think he does it too much, and it is an exclamation point, like, nail in the coffin type of thing, even though it's not his finisher per se. But I like when big guys leave their feet. I loved when Bam Bam did it, Vader. You see big guys doing things that big guys shouldn't do. That sets them apart from other big guys. So I'm perfectly cool with it.
But it's what big guys shouldn't do, which is why he doesn't do it very much. So this was a match that was going on longer, that they were not, it wasn't the clean sweep they expected. They do so much on their feet with power that the match ends quickly. Here's one where the New Day came out on top during the beginning. They had control of the match early on and kept control for the most part. So they immediately said, this isn't going to be an easy beatdown. Ivar went for the moonsault and missed it. It's not like a Keith Lee match. I'm not trying to knock on Keith Lee, but he does everything he can do every time, and he has since NXT, and it makes it a little less spectacular when you see it every single match. Like, I think that Ivar does a really good job of, he doesn't do the cartwheel every match. He doesn't do the moonsault every match. This was a blow-off match that was supposed to be kind of the Vikings' last stand, so to speak. Like, I think it was the right time and place for sure, because I hadn't seen him do the moonsault, especially since he goes to the second rope to do kind of the Vader bomb, and then he stepped up on the top rope. The way you know he doesn't do it too much is the crowd got on their feet as soon as his feet were on the top rope. Mm-hmm. You can watch the crowd start to stand up because they went, oh my God, what is he about to do? They didn't know. They just knew he was on the top rope, and he doesn't usually do that. Where when someone gets knocked on the outside in a Keith Lee match, and he looks back and forth, no one stands up because they go, oh, here's where he does the suicide dive. Well, yeah, and it's a cool spot, and it's crazy, and he's mad athletic, and you go, this guy's great, but there's not that, what is he about to do moment. You don't see that excitement of like, oh, God, what's this? You just go, oh, here's that spot that I like. It's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah. But all around awesome match. Good way to start off the show, kicking off into the weekend.
Yeah, and I think Pat McAfee did an awesome job doing commentary on this one. He was having a lot of fun with it. You could hear him say stuff that would just make Michael Cole go silent because he didn't want to just laugh into the mic. Also announced today, Pat McAfee is joining Game Day NFL. Never heard of it. He seems to be excited.
College football.
Big
It's not that
big college football show. I mean, we could spend 2 hours on Pat McAfee and what he's done over the last year. He has a big deal. Like for the NFL, he's actually now allowed, because, for copyright and all that, he's actually now allowed to show NFL clips on his daily Pat McAfee show on YouTube. That's a huge licensing vetting from the NFL. So again, another milestone for Pat, but he just keeps going up and up and up. And his commentary over the last year and a half now has just been sparkling.
Yeah, it's going to be a void that we're going to feel for sure. Hey, if college football is so important, who's made it into the Hall of Fame with only a college career?
Ron Simmons.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I was going to say, probably a lot of people we haven't heard of.
No, Ron Simmons, I know him.
Dang. He's done a couple things.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, congratulations on him. I guess it's I mean, it's gotta be huge. I'm sure it's huge. Especially, I mean, if Triple H is tweeting out about it to like let people know that he's cool with it, like that was also kind of cool. But yeah, congrats on him. Is gonna be a void. What do you got, Kev?
Yeah. Well, he's staying on SmackDown, right? No, he's not gonna be. What's that?
He said, keep going. Go for it.
Oh, no, I was asking if, McAfee's still going to be on SmackDown, but if his Saturdays. Yeah, he is.
No, they said he's going to be taken off of SmackDown for like 4 months.
Oh. Because the thing I read said that, he'll still be doing the commentating on Friday Night SmackDown, but.
Really? Because what I read was that he's got about 4 months where he's not going to be on, so he can do that. Because I think that the idea of traveling, if he's got to do Saturday mornings and doing Friday nights.
I was just wondering about the paper or the premium live events.
Yes. So college. So here's the thing too. So yes, I just did confirm that. Yep, he is going to hold off on SmackDown because SmackDown tape is obviously Friday night. And College Game Day is Saturday morning. And they have to get there, the set gets built. Like, they have to be, I think they go live either 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So could you imagine if SmackDown's in Florida and then College Game Day is in California the next morning? Like, there's no way he would be able to logistically figure that out without actually, and he's actually gone on record, Pat, did College Game Day a couple years ago. Him and his boys did it. And even just doing College Game Day was nuts, traveling to this city, that city, all the cities around and trying to still do his show. So adding SmackDown as another layer is probably just too logistically crazy for him. So, yeah, so he should be out then from, probably till about the end of December, beginning of January when the bowl games are. And then hopefully then he should be back.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool. I mean, it's awesome. He's one of ours now, so anytime I see him somewhere else, he's a WWE guy. I got 3, 4, 5. I got like 5 or 6 Pat McAfee shirts in the closet there, so every College Game Day I'll be ready to go. I got my For the Brand. I got the Make the Opportunities Matter. I got the Zoom shout out to Sports Beard. I don't know if he even like checks in on us anymore, but shout out to Sports Beard and giving me some of them some McAfee things. I'm sure he's going to be super psyched to get more McAfee. So, but yeah, shout out to that. I also didn't want to ignore that, but I felt like it was a good time to throw that in there. Something else happened on SmackDown before we get into Clash. Just a couple more things. Ronda Rousey came out there, cut a promo, talking mad shit on Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce came out. He had a lot to say, and a lot of people really liked it. Yeah, bitch. I says, bitch.
But hey, he said it. He actually said it.
Yeah, he did. But did you say it? But did you say it though? Oh, I said it.
He actually said it. Yeah.
Somebody needs to make that clip. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you say it? And then you see Adam Pearce.
I actually think
bitch.
a producer lady actually did on Friday, except didn't put them together, but during the promo, tweeted out about Adam Pearce and tweeted the clip of them saying bitch in the tree. That's fun.
That's cool.
But it was funny because she messaged me. She's like, hey, what's that thing that you and Kev are always saying about bitch? And I was like, here, here's a good clip. But a lot of people really liked it. Obviously, did a really good job. Because, I mean, he's a former NWA champion. The guy's been holding a mic here and there for quite some time. Like, the idea that he wouldn't be able to talk is kind of foolish. But I don't know. What did you guys think about it? Because to me, there was a bit of a like, where are we going? What are we doing?
I saw, like, when I was... Oh, go ahead, Kev. Go, you first. Enjoy your peach and you can talk away.
Yeah, I'm kind of just over it. I don't know what the build up is to, and where's the payoff.
Yeah.
Like, are we getting, Ronda versus Pearce? Because that's not entertaining at all.
That's been the story for 3 weeks now.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but at the same time, like you said, where are we going with it? So
yeah,
I don't think I need to see it again.
Yeah, right. That's kind of how I felt. I was like, this was really good for no reason. Like, I'm not getting an Adam Pearce match. I'm not getting a Rousey match. Like, we're not even. We don't even have another woman on the roster coming out telling her to knock it off. Like that Shayna Baszler thing that they had the one time. They haven't revisited it. And I thought that was done great, where Shayna's coming out and goes, look, it's not how we do things here. You bide your time. You do things right. We don't do it like this. Like, why isn't Shayna coming out to protect Adam Pearce or something, just being like, hey, you can't just attack people. You know what I mean? Like, at least we'd be building towards something we could see as a match. So my only complaint is that it was good for no reason. Sort of like Bishop used to say, big for no reason. Graham, what did you think?
When I looked at it, I mean, you're right. I'm trying to see where it's going, and I understand that Rousey had to be cooled off and suspended and all that, so Liv could have some breathing room to go with Shayna and everything and kind of walk through all of that. And I believe this is just the token badass versus the authority. I mean, the ultimate example being Austin versus McMahon. But because during the promo, Adam Pearce, like when he was talking, the crowd was chanting, he turns to the crowd, shut up while I'm talking. Like, he was taking more of the heel, bad, boss approach. And, the thing is too, when the letter about, you shouldn't have suspended Ronda was from WWE headquarters, it was mixed messages for me. It was, wait a minute. Is the corporate machine against or with Ronda? Because Adam Pearce, in my mind, is the authority figure. He represents the company. So now the company says Adam Pearce is just a nothing and he has no authority. They cut his legs out from under him. He should not have suspended you, Ronda. And then Ronda's like, well, nah. Adam Pearce goes, and then she rips his arm off and shoves him into the corner. Because now how is anyone else supposed to? I understand we have to sometimes look at things in a vacuum here, but then when Adam Pearce comes out next time and says stop doing, like being an authority figure, I'm not going to view him the same way, or I'm going to view him worse than what I did before, because WWE headquarters usurped him essentially, and Ronda's like, well, they don't care, so I'm just going to beat you up. So, moving forward, Adam Pearce's character is kind of kind of in flux on that. But then for Ronda, again, I really think it's just waiting period until we're going to after we have Extreme Rules coming up in Philly, and then we have Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel in November. So maybe she'll be on that show. So we just got to wait and see approach with Ronda. But this segment, it left me more confused than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, the word
Yes,
is
sir.
that AEW is going to be addressing the CM Punk thing directly on air. So maybe I'll try and do a watch along and breakdown while so we can talk live about it. Yeah, it's a great segment. Two people did really good. We're going nowhere. That was in reference to Ronda. That was not in reference to AEW. I know it'd be confusing because it usually is in reference to AEW. This was specifically Ronda Adam Pearce. Happened to be a good segment with two people going nowhere. I'm saying because it's a little more rare to see happen here. Hit row max male models. Anything you want to say about that? I was happy to see everyone in the ring. I don't know if I have any other feelings besides that.
That was pretty much it. Just
Yeah.
there they are. They're working.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Same feeling with Karrion Kross in ring return, beating the shit out of Drew Gulak. Good to do it, but I don't know. Keep going.
Well, to the real quick on the hit row match with Max and male models. The only thing I'll say is at the end when all the bad guys, Los Lotharios came out, then we had the Street Profits come out and defend other good guys. They just let all the bad guys stomp on the good guys, and then more good guys came out to help, even out the bad guys. So that's always a good thing.
And we could go to a Survivor Series match. We could potentially. I'm starting to see a few things here, Kev. I don't know if you were noticing too. We're starting to see some teams build numbers without being brand specific, which I think helps our argument that we should not be doing a brand versus brand Survivor Series.
yeah, no, I've been noticing it, and I'm 100% for it. Like we need traditional Survivor Series.
And this would be a really good opening match for Survivor Series.
Yeah.
These good guys against those bad guys, that would be good.
Yeah.
To start it off like that.
Start out with a hit row concert. Boom.
Oh. Oh. They're in Philly. It'll go well.
Yeah. No, are they in Philly for Survivor Series?
Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules. Oh. Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Anything you want to say
The
about
only thing
Karrion Kross? Go ahead.
I was going to say, the only thing I did want to say about the maximum male models is, for their first match, I wanted them to be really like Carmella. I remember where she didn't want her face to be hit. Like I wanted that to be like a similar thing. Like if they got hit in the face, start screaming and run to the corner almost. But
like the moneymaker, like Miz.
yeah. Don't touch the face, Am I still beautiful type of thing, but
Yeah. I want to see more stuff like that. I wanted them out there in masks too, like the it wasn't Grant Hill. What was the name of the guy who wore the
Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, Rip Hamilton mask.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For the Scarlett Drew Gulak match, obviously just the entrance for Karrion Kross is just unreal. Even Pat McAfee on commentary was like, whoa, I think that's the first time he saw that live. I think that's the first time anyone saw that full entrance live.
With the crowd, yeah.
With the crowd and everything. Right. Legit entrance. The debut, or we'll call it Smackdown debut. And then the one part I liked at the end, if this is a continuous thing where he hangs his victims from the bottom rope over the apron, I'm like, I'm good with that. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. TikTok. And then the last thing we'll talk about SmackDown before we go on to Clash, because there was a lot of good stuff in Clash. Butch versus Ludwig Kaiser. I saw some people complain about the length of this match, and I don't get it, because I was like, this is what I want from them, a match this long.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know how you can complain about that. I love this match from start to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
A lot of people talking about Butch being in his old ring gear. Do you think we are getting closer and closer to not calling him Butch anymore?
Well, his friends call him Butch.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else knew him
That was
by a
my
different
point.
name. You know, like I'm okay either way. We go back to Pete Dunne or even Pete Dunne Butch or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think he had to go into like his old ring gear just because of the style he fights.
Yeah.
Butch the Bruiserweight. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, I'm good with it. Oh, I guess there was one other thing that, as we get into Clash, but it relates directly to Clash. Anything else about Butch or Ludwig? I thought it was awesome because both dudes looked like bad asses.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot more Butch doing the old finger manipulation, which we haven't seen a ton of Butch doing up until now.
Well, it's the Smackdown, crowd or fans finally got to see it.
Yeah.
We saw it in NXT, and I loved it then.
Yes.
I love it now, so I'm glad more people could see it.
Oh yeah. You guys ready to talk Clash? We'll do a segue into Clash.
Yeah.
Real quick, SmackDown MVP, as we talk about every week, Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, those skits back with the Usos in the back, and his whole thing with Roman, the 2-year celebration. Sami was responsible for everything and all that. Just top-notch A+ Sami Zayn all the way through.
Yeah, that was going to be my segue, so you just stopped all over it. You just crushed it. Can't believe you could do that in front of all my friends. No. Yeah. So it did end with a 2-year celebration put together by Sami Zayn for Roman. The Usos and Sami are amazing together. Sami and Roman are amazing together. Drew McIntyre came out and ruined the whole thing like a chump. But yeah, Sami Zayn's amazing. He's just so good. He had his hair up in a bun like Roman. I think that was on purpose. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the one thing I didn't like was when Drew attacks Roman, when Roman shows up.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that they called it a Claymore. They're like, oh, he hit him with the Claymore. And then he's just standing there, and I'm like, he just kicked him. That's it.
Yeah, that was a kick.
But
it was a regular kick.
Other than that, everything else is just awesome, and I'm just nitpicking.
Yep. But that does lead us into Clash of the Castle. Now, there were a lot of people, because we're already talking about Drew and Roman, might as well. There were a lot of people who were saying they were really upset about Drew not winning here, and they thought that was a bad move, and Triple H is off his game, and how could you do that, not let him win in his hometown? And
it's not
I'll be honest.
It's not even his home country.
No, it's not. It's just the closest to his home country, right? So it's the closest they're going to get in a big thing. I'll be honest, we talked about it a little bit before. I would have been really upset if they went, because a lot of people were saying it the way that we were saying it shouldn't be. A lot of people were like, how could you not give him this moment in front of the people after the whole Brock Lesnar thing in the warehouse? Like, that's exactly why you don't do it, because that would be a pity party for Drew. Let Drew earn his way back up to it. Also, the Roman story is about the titles. Drew's is not. At least not now. At least not yet. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been a big moment for Drew, but for Drew alone, it would have derailed Roman's story. It would have kind of derailed the momentum of, not the company, but the direction of the storylines that are going right now. It would have kind of derailed a lot of that stuff if they were trying so hard to make Drew happy in his hometown. I think that the way they did it, although I don't agree with how it was all on TV, the way they did it is probably the right way to do it. If he's going to take the loss, make him look really strong, do the thing, give him his moment with the crowd afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting his moment. The crowd was singing for him. They were cheering for him. It's not like he didn't feel the energy of the crowd. He just didn't hold up the titles in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the match. I preferred this outcome. I was nervous going into it that they were going to give Drew his pity party and, give him his WrestleMania moment, quote unquote. But yeah, I thought the match was phenomenal. I liked how I wish I would have stated it more that the Usos and Sami weren't medically cleared, after Drew's beatdown the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But you knew Roman had something up his sleeve. Like,
yeah.
The way he's been operating, like something was going to happen. And I love that, I forget his name.
Solo Sikoa.
Solo Sikoa, yeah.
Marsh's boy.
That's my boy.
I love that he's finally there. The only thing I hated too, just to jump forward real quick because we're on it, was I hated how on Raw they showed the package and they called him the Usos' brother, Roman's other cousin, but they never mentioned his name on Raw. And I think that was a big drop of the ball.
They didn't say his name? I thought they did.
Oh.
They did show the graphic that had his name, I thought, because they showed a package about him, I thought. About the bloodline. And he was in it, and they showed Solo Sikoa entrance and stuff.
Oh, the thing, I watched the Hulu version, so I missed, some shit.
Yeah, they had a video package about the bloodline.
When they were doing the Clash of the Castle recap, they showed him, but they didn't mention his name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, we can talk about the main event now. We'll start with the main event and go backwards because we're talking about, storylines that go through Clash, and that's how SmackDown ended. That's how Clash ended. Raw definitely had the video package about it. I'm super excited to see Solo there. I've been saying since Solo got in NXT, after the first match or two, I was like, I don't know why he's here. And after the bell, the Usos.
You don't know why he's there because he needs to be on the main roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why he's there. He's already
in the
so
company.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clarify that for people.
Yeah. The Usos had said on After the Bell in one of their interviews that the initial plan was to bring him directly to the bloodline right away, but discussions were had, conversations were had, and the decision ended up being, let's see what he can do on his own in NXT. Let's set him apart a little bit before doing that. And so he was doing that down there. He also, it's why he went with the name Solo, because he was going to be on his own. It's why he was wrestling barefoot, was because he wanted to look different than the Usos, and that's why he's wearing those like shorts. He wanted to really set himself apart. He dyed his hair, took his boots off, and put on shorts. None of that, which was what he was before he got there. He had a very similar look to the Usos on the indie scene, but since he was going to be on his own, they wanted to set him apart on his own. He went all in on that. He goes, you want me to be on my own? I'm going to be on my own. Like, he wanted to do as much as he could to set himself apart so he would be set apart. And so now, yeah, he's ready to go. Like, and I'm all for it. I love that dude. He's so good. He's going to be an awesome addition. He's exactly the kind of dude who should be taking the Intercontinental Championship off of a Gunther. Because if Gunther's going to lose it, it's got to be to somebody to make them. And Solo could definitely be made by beating a Gunther, and definitely could believably be that level of a badass. Or you could also protect Gunther by having the Usos get involved, just get the title off of him.
Yeah.
Or do you think he takes the U.S. title off of Bobby?
Or both.
It would have to be, well, first off, for Gunther, which we'll get there in a second, spoiler teaser. Gunther right now, he's a made man. He is a made man right now, especially with Imperium now fully formed again, the tripod. He's going up. I see Gunther having a long Intercontinental title reign until someone can be built up to slay the giant, so to speak. Yeah. But Solo Sikoa, I mean, when he comes in, first off, just being the hired gun, the family, for the family and everything coming into the fold here, because the bloodline runs deep, they have connections everywhere. So, for Solo Sikoa to make his impact in the world title match of this huge stadium pay-per-view is a big, throw a rocket on his back at this point. In regards to the match itself, I think it comes down to, well, obviously Roman winning. Drew, during the match, I felt that Drew had a shot. Prior to the match, it was Roman 100%. Then as the match went on, and then the Claymore, and then the crowd and everything, I said, wow. Like, not that they would change the result in the middle of the ring, but if they did, like, I was thinking all this stuff. And then when Roman won, I'm like, oh, that's how. Because how else is Roman going to beat Drew in that environment, in that 60,000 people going nuts for Drew and everything? It had to be a dastardly deed of interference to have Roman retain the title. It couldn't be a clean, I tapped out your hero. Like, no, it had to be some chicanery or something. So I was okay with the finish based on the entire, environment of the match.
Yeah.
I think also, though, it's now where do you go? Mm-hmm. Think about it. Roman's beat Drew in his hometown with 60,000 people. He's beaten Brock Lesnar 3 times in a year, stacked up Daniel Bryan and Edge, like just 2 years of dominance, that whole package on SmackDown. Like, just whoever gets bestowed the crown of the titles off of Roman, it's got to be huge. It's got to be so huge and so just like I don't know who it is right now. I mean, I've had in the back of my mind Braun Breaker, I think, might be that guy in the next year or so. Maybe not this year, maybe the next. But that's the only person I can think of that's being built up. You hear The Rock at 39 possibly coming in, maybe. Because these matches are only going to get bigger. They're going to be bigger, and then because you need bigger opponents for Roman, because you're not going to believe that anyone's going to beat him unless you get somebody to match up to that intensity.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people saying Cody. What do you think, Kev?
I like Cody, but the one I still want to see is Cena. I want him to get 17 bad. And I think him taking him off of Roman, I know he already had his chance at, last year's SummerSlam, but give him another chance and he gets 17, that'd be fucking awesome.
What if The Rock takes them off of Roman and Cena takes them off The Rock, and then Madcap Moss takes them off Cena? And then now you got Madcap and Roman main event, Or you can have Sami Zayn take it off Cena. Then you got Sami and Roman like at odds, and what are they gonna? He's honorary Uce, but now he's got both the titles,
But then it goes, they still have to do something with Theory, and they're making him look so weak. It's ridiculous.
They are.
For Theory, there's a storyline that I wish they have done before, but maybe we'll see it now. When Ken Kennedy was the Money in the Bank champ, he said, I'm going to cash in at next year's WrestleMania. That would have been great if it actually came to fruition. And you have all these people that said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. The one angle that has not been taken is, so you have to cash in your Money in the Bank in 1 year.
Yeah.
Like, you have to. I want it to be where Austin Theory still has the briefcase, like after WrestleMania or like May or something. Wait a minute, Austin, you only have 30 more days, man. You got to cash this in. You only have 20 days left. When and it starts working against him that the time is running out, because for Theory just to go out there and say, I'm going to go pin Roman, I don't see that happening unless he triple threats himself into the match like Rollins or something. But it has to be something fun with Theory, because right now I don't believe he's ever going to cash in on Roman. I just don't.
Yeah.
I do think, though, the way that they pulled this one off with Austin Theory coming out and getting punched by Tyson Fury was so good. Dude, it came out of nowhere. It was so fucking funny. Theory's sell job of the punch was amazing. He crumbled and arms went stiff, and I like the camera goes back to Tyson, goes back down to Theory, and his face is just crunched up like, oh. His arms are stiff and out, like he's just all like, oh. Dude, I thought he did an amazing job in that failure. Because at the time when it first hit, I was like, no way. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're going to make the biggest heel in the business right now by ruining this moment for both Roman and Drew. and then to just get sucker punched by Tyson Fury, like Tyson had money on the match or something. So good, dude.
Tyson Fury unplugged Austin Theory.
Yeah,
It's like somebody unplugged him.
So good. Amazing. And I love it too because they were going all the way. The way he was down there being like, I'm cashing in. I was all like, they're actually going to do it. They're not going to do a thing. And I was like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden Tyson.
Or Drew was going to pin Austin and win the titles that way.
Yeah.
And take him off Roman that way. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a possibility, but yeah, dude. I mean, the main event was awesome because of all that. Super happy Solo's here. I'm ready for a Solo run. Like you said, Imperium's 3. You got the Usos and their younger brother. So you can do Solo and the Usos against Imperium. Like, we could do some fun stuff, man. I'm excited for it.
You got Sami there, too.
Yeah, Honorary Us on commentary.
Well, no, I'm just
in the match, bro.
Yeah.
It's Survivor Series, 5 on 5.
Yeah, that's true. At that point, you have the full Survivor Series team, right? You got the Usos. You got Solo, you got
Sami,
Roman, and Roman.
Yeah.
The full bloodline in a Survivor Series match would be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're headed.
Before we go back through Clash, I do want to... I mean, I'm just going to shout this out. Kiro's in the chat right now. He's talking about AEW. That's going to be a later show. We're fully aware of everything you're saying in there, but we're not talking about that here. Me and Amanda are going to come back on in a few hours, and we're going to talk about it. But what'd you guys think of the after match where Tyson Fury goes in there, starts singing, Drew starts singing along? At one point, I'm watching it, and I go, what the fuck are we doing? And then at one point I said, do they realize they're even on? Why are they doing this? And then Drew says, I don't even know if we're still on the air, but I'm just having a laugh. And I was like, then get off the air. I fully believe. I know that some people loved this. A lot of people really liked this in general. It was such a deflating thing to watch because I'm just watching this terrible singing, this person just bullshit with the crowd so long that even the crowd starts looking around like, is someone about to come out? Why would they keep doing this long? And then for nothing to happen other than that was so... It felt like such a waste of time. Here's what I think should have happened. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done all those things. That should have been a digital exclusive. When Roman's walking up the ramp and turns into the camera and says the shit he says, the camera should have gone back to Drew looking defeated in the ring. Maybe you even see Tyson Fury go in there and pull him up, and then the credits go, right? Put the copyright up. And then on the YouTube digital exclusive, you have all of the, here's what happened after we went off the air. Here's Drew having a good old time with his crowd, and you're singing. Because then you'd be like, oh, what a cool moment. What a sweet thing they did. He had his moment with his crowd. They're singing like morons. But to go on for like 10 minutes of this that made no sense contextually, made no sense storyline, I felt like I shouldn't be watching this on Prime TV. You know what I mean? Real quick before I get from Grim's perspective, Fabtina's in the chat says it was such a weird ending. They even asked if they were still in the air. That was... Hero says that was so they could stall for the press conference and KTA a thing Tyson does after all his boxing matches. I don't know. I guess.
Oh no! So he sings American Pie after all of his fights. Bye bye, Miss American Pie. Yeah, he sings it after all of his fights. That's why he was being consistent with his countrymen, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. It's a thing he does, which is also fine to do after the show's off the air. You know what I mean? Like, it was fine. And you can stall for the press conference too, because instead of saying, hey, it's going to be on 5 minutes after the thing, say it's going to be on 10 minutes after the thing.
Yeah, I thought that was a little rushed. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
5 minutes after this, you're expecting us to watch, 3+ hours of wrestling, and immediately we got 5 minutes to, take a piss or whatever and switch over to the news conference.
Yeah. But yeah, if it's a thing he does, then sure, he can do that somewhere digital exclusive. It's fine. That's what I mean. It was a fine moment. To have it attached to the actual premium live event to me was so weird. Graham or Kev, who wants to talk about that thing before we go into the matches?
I mean, just overall, I mean, I understand it was a feel-good moment for the your countrymen. I mean, Tyson Fury from Birmingham, right in England, and again, that those are their boys. Let's just sing it until the end. Okay, it's great. You're right, Marsh. So it was kind of like, like there should have been a line in the sand. Match over. Roman's done. Fade to black. Oh, tune in to like you said, YouTube or whatever. We're going to continue this, whatever. Leave it for the live crowd and tape it for later. That would be fine, or watch it later. But overall, it was. So let's a little bit going into the crowd. The ovation Sheamus got after the match with Gunther. Just the crowd was in it. I mean, the good old Bailey chants we'll talk about in a little bit, but just like the crowd was engaged, like they were hungry for wrestling. First stadium show in 30 years since SummerSlam '92. So overall, I just think the crowd was ready. They were with it every match. Only 6 matches on the card as well, so we weren't over. It wasn't, we weren't too much action in 3 hours. So the crowd was with it all the way through for every match. So thumbs up to the crowd.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kev, what do you think?
Well, just to finish with the crowd thing, I thought the ovations and the pops were amazing. Like they were, it felt more like a live event on how like the crowd was reacting. Mm-hmm. Where they're chanting and stuff like that. Like it didn't feel like a typical premium live event, or you know what I mean? Like it felt like, the crowd was more rowdy and into it, and I loved it. And I wouldn't be opposed if they had a pay-per-view there every year, or somewhere in Europe every year. But
maybe like a fun crowd versus a smart crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Right.
Yeah. They were all the crowd was having fun and just living in the moment. That's what you want, Yeah. Going to the ending, I didn't mind it because, I like Tyson Fury, fan of his. So to see him do it with Drew, I didn't mind. But like you said, it was just long. They could have made something, or cut 5 minutes out of it, and like you said, make it a WWE.com exclusive or something like that. But yeah, it is what it is.
Because I felt at one point, I was like, I feel like I'm just being made to watch this because it's going on so long that something's got to happen. And then when nothing happened and no one came out and that's all it was, I was like, I would have turned this off 10 minutes ago had I known that it was just going to be Tyson and Drew singing to the crowd and making no sense to me. Like, I didn't need to see it. But at the same time, if the show went off and someone was all like, hey, after the show goes off, there's a digital exclusive out there, Drew and Tyson Fury are just having a blast with the crowd for like 10 minutes. They're like singing and goofing off. I'd be like, really? Maybe I'll check that out. Because I wouldn't be expecting anything more. I was expecting something to happen because it's a fucking premium live event, man. There's a story being told here. But let's keep it moving. There's a few other matches that happened here. As far as I do think that we like to go storyline-wise, there's no storyline that happened on Raw that directly ties into Drew and Roman other than them recapping some stuff and showing some bloodline stuff. So I'm sure on SmackDown we're going to revisit some of that. The kickoff show did have Madcap Moss Street Profits against Theory and Alpha Academy. If there's anything you guys want to say about that, you're welcome to. I let it play while I did other stuff. It was fine. I don't even think that I understood why they were all teaming together. It just felt like really thrown together.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah. Probably fine. They're all good athletes, so.
it was a good formulaic 6-man tag just to get the crowd into it, get the crowd rolling and everything like that. And,
Right.
it just solid match, solid 6 guys as always. And hey, so overall, just good match to start off the night.
Good. Get the crowd warmed up, get them going, because the real main event happened at the beginning of the show. Damage Control comes out. New music, new graphics, which then changed on Monday. Immediately new graphics again. Back-to-back different graphics. But we had Damage Control officially named Bayley, Io, Dakota against Alexa, Bianca, and Asuka. I loved this match. I do realize there were moments here where it was a little slow getting pieces together, getting the parts in the right places. I think that for me, one of my big takeaways of this whole rivalry that's been building to this, for whatever reason, I don't have a good reason as to why, but I didn't think that Alexa Bliss would have such good chemistry with Io. I feel like the Io Sky and Alexa Bliss has had very good chemistry when they're in ring together, and that was a surprise to me for whatever reason. I just thought they wouldn't click. Like, nothing on negative to say about either one of them, just that something about their two styles, I just didn't imagine they would be so smooth together. Like, I felt like they did very good. But outside of that, I thought the match was overall really fun, even though it had some kind of overly indie spots and things in there for no reason other than to have their spot. It was still very, very fun, and I thought all 6 women did awesome here. I was pretty impressed. I was happy. I'll start with Kev. What do you think, Kev? And then we'll go Grim.
Yeah, I mean, just like Grim said about the kickoff show, was, you have, in this case, 6 talent that are great. So you really can't go wrong. And there were some sloppy moments at the beginning and, different spots. But once it started clicking, it was a great match. And for me, it was hard for me to still just be invested in this match. It never made sense to me. And I was never excited to see it, really. But other than that, like I said, I have no complaints about the actual match.
For, just looking at all 6 women, I mean, just a very good match all the way around. Obviously, the Bayley chants in the beginning. Hey, Bayley. Okay. Homage to Bayley. Welcome back to Premium Live Events. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the ring, essentially. And I liked how when Bayley started the match, but then when we were chanting, she tagged out. Like, she just stayed on the apron for a little while. Now, I also know probably the 6-person tag, 6-woman tag was designed to maybe give Bayley a kind of just a little bit of a landing strip going into her first match from coming out of injury, which is good. But it also promotes the 2 women she brought with her, Dakota Sky. I did it, Bayley. You know what I did? Shut up, idiots! I know, I said it wrong. Dakota Kai and Io Sky, just showcasing them. Marsh, to what you were saying, I mean, Io, I felt, just with NXT, she was great. I like her entrance a lot. She flows so well. She can mix with anybody. I think she just won't have a bad match. I haven't seen a bad match of hers in NXT, WWE. So just really, really cool all the way around. But I think that the biggest takeaway is that Bayley pinned Bianca. I mean, yes, it was a triple team at the end with the finishers, but still, Bayley got the 1, 2, 3. So that, for me, sets up, Bayley going for Bianca, maybe at Extreme Rules coming up in a month. We'll see where that leads. But yes, just a good showcase for all 6 women. And I believe the right result happened with Bayley getting the 1-up on Bianca.
Yeah, me and Kev were talking about that right before we went into prediction that we thought that Bailey's got to get the pin on Bianca. Kev saying because he wants to see it go to the Raw title next. But I said, I think that she doesn't even have to. I was like, I would like to see her get the pin on Bianca and then just hold it over Bianca. Whenever I want it, I'll take it. It's obvious I can now, which was really interesting for us to say that in episode 1 because fast forward to Raw, it's the actual promo Bailey cut on Bianca. I don't have to take it from you. I'm busy doing other things, but if I want it, know I could take it whenever I want. And I loved it because I made me and Kevlar both right again. You heard it here first. Yeah, it was great, and it was awesome. Like, I do want to say as well. Anything you want to say about that, Kev? Us predicting it so correctly, like on the nose. Bruce Pritchard, again, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. One of our top drinking buddies.
Yep. No, it was just this is where we thought the angle that they were going to go with after it, and we're
as a quick side,
journalists.
yeah, right. Plans change for the amount of wrestling journalists that said they had the results and were posting it and were wrong about so many things. We also could have just listened to us bullshit, and it turns out we were more right than they were without inside knowledge. But I do want to throw this out here before we go on to the next match. There was a lot of hate for Alexa Bliss online after this. A lot of people saying she seemed like a fish out of water, that everyone was slowing down for her, that she's not very good. I didn't get that at all from any of this. I'm obviously a huge Bayley mark, have been. It's never been a secret. There's tons of footage of me in different episode 1s dressed up as Bayley. I made Bayley headbands with fake ponytails and made everyone wear them one day. I was wearing an Alexa Bliss shirt during this pay-per-view, during this premium live event, this PLE. You know what I mean?
Just doesn't flow.
PLE does flow. Dummy. No.
That was plan, bro.
Yeah.
Play.
Not only was I wearing an Alexa Bliss shirt during this thing, the more we see of her, the more I'm still like, there's like part of me like wants to protect her from the knowledge that she could go to Hollywood at any moment. There is nothing that she is missing from being successful in Hollywood. She's got the look, ability. She can do her own stunts. She can talk on the mic. She can talk in a live atmosphere. Imagine what she could do scripted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
With retakes.
Oh, we saw it with the...
Oh, with Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It
what
was
I mean.
amazing.
So every time I see people hate on her online, all I think is, you guys better shut up or we're going to lose her. Like... But I just wanted to defend Alexa on the show for a minute. She was very good to me over the weekend, too. I posted a thing about her, even posted that I was wearing the shirt. She liked it. After that, some Alexa Bliss stans were like tweeting out that they appreciated her and kind of made a thread. And I responded to one of them. I didn't even like go through the whole thread. I just responded to one of them, my drawing of Alexa. And Alexa found that thread and liked my drawing, but nothing else in the thread. So there was a moment there where if you went to, I don't know what now, but if you went to Alexa's Twitter and went to her likes, I was the 2 on top there. And I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. But the big takeaway for me on that stuff, though, is that, like, there's a good chance it just made her smile and feel good for a minute. And that's what I think that we should be trying to utilize Twitter for. Not trying to tear people down and make them feel like shit. It's one thing to critique stuff and say, oh, I don't like this. I wish they'd done it this way, or this could have been that way. But when it comes to, like, these people, like, unless you're Punk, who's a piece of trash, you should be using Twitter to try to give these people a little bit of a smile on their time away. Like, why are we trying to tear people down? So the idea that I maybe gave somebody a smile that day that meant more to me than any of the other bits, you know?
Twitter is a powerful tool.
Well, the thing is, you know, especially
Also a powerful tool is CM Punk, but different type of tool. Go ahead, Kev.
People just don't realize that they're the stars or superstars are people. They're portraying a character, and people get like they muddy that up so much, and it's fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's go on to match 2, which was also the real main event. There's a lot of main events in this one, if you ask me. Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther versus Sheamus. This was basically rock, paper, scissors in a ring. I mean, are they even trying? You know what I mean? Like, did they even show up to do anything? Like, it's basically like watching Twister. You know what I mean?
I wish somebody would sell something in that match.
Yeah. Could you sell for once? Anything? Guys?
This does not look real.
I mean,
yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Sheamus at the end, I think he just took Smucker's Jam and put it on his chest, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, on some of the shows, you can watch them cut themselves with razor blades. On this one, you can watch them open up some jelly and just smear it all over themselves.
A little cream cheese to give it the texture. Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
This was insane. This could have been match of the year, potentially.
So I'm looking at it right now. Of course, the agent for this match was Abyss.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, guys, beat the stuffing out of each other. Get there. Gunther's going over, but you guys just get there. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I can just imagine the three of them sitting around in a circle, and Abyss just being like, "I forget it," and just leaving, and then them just looking at each other and smiling, being like, "Try not to die."
But overall, though, for the just the story that was being told for Sheamus, he gave everything Gunther could take, and then some. And I think the story of the match is just at the end, like Sheamus is just a warrior, the Celtic warrior, like just I will fight to my last breath. And he didn't have the chutzpah to get off a brogue kick, which essentially he collapsed, and then Gunther, finished him off. But it was just like to the last breath, and just red. Just, within the first 3 minutes of the match, his chest was already red from Gunther's chops. So just, like, I think it was just the story of the undying spirit of the warrior just going down to the last breath, and then, unable to secure the victory, but at least, he laid it all out there in the ring.
Dude, but same with Gunther. Like, by minute 2 in there, his chest was red. When Sheamus was starting to do the counts of the... Was it the counts of the Baldry?
And
beats of the Baron.
When he's doing that over the barricade, you could just see the look on Gunther's face. Like, no sell needed. He was just all like, God, I don't like doing this. Like,
please only be 10. Please only be 10. Please only be 10.
I was going to say, and then they went over 10. He kept going.
Yeah, he's collapsing. At one point, Gunther kind of collapses and runs away. And you're all like,
we get it. We got it.
Yeah. It was amazing from both these dudes just beating the absolute piss out of each other. And I think that with as much of a made guy Gunther was going into this match, I think this puts Gunther on a different playing field. You know what I mean? This was truly an elevating match. Like, not only did he beat a former world champion in Sheamus, he got the shit kicked out of him along the way. Like, this was a bunch of tough dudes being really tough and being like... Sheamus has mentioned before, I know I did like a meet and greet where he talked about it. He says he doesn't know how much longer, like how long he's going to keep going, and he feels like he's gotten a second chance, after his injuries and stuff, and that he wants to go out there and give each thing like it might be his last match. So he always puts extra out there because he wants it to be the kind of thing that can prove he could do a WrestleMania. I know he's won a world championship at a WrestleMania, but I feel like this has to go down as a top match for Sheamus in his entire career. The crowd, the location, the stakes, like it was all there. This could be the single greatest Sheamus match we've ever had, and it's 20 years into his career, and that's crazy to think about.
He's... his work with Cesaro, that whole tag team just lit up the whole tag division, and they were just great with that. But yes, in Sheamus's recent work, call it the white light Celtic Warrior coming out to this song, the last 5-6 years, yes, this has been his top match.
I'm not trying to take away from the Cesaro stuff, but I'd probably watch this match again before a Cesaro Sheamus match again. Not to say that they were ever bad, but that best of 7 series was incredible. I think this tops that. I think those are 2. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're talking 1 and 2 right now, and so obviously the semantics of 1 and 2 could be different for each of us, but I think that's what we're arguing about is like his 1 and 2, and you could even argue that his top 5, 4 of them are against Cesaro. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Kev, what did you think? What did you want to say about this one?
No, just pretty much exactly what you guys said. Like, this probably is Cesaro's best, or Sheamus's best match. Like, it was entertaining from, top to bottom, seeing them, literally beating the shit out of each other. It was entertaining, like, excuse me, for a few of the times they showed slow-mo, and, sometimes they'll speed it up when, the hits or kicks don't land, and they did a few of them where they slowed it down, and you just see the connection, and, it was awesome. It was, like, strong style to a T. And, yeah, I would definitely watch this match again just out of pure enjoyment and probably pick up on other things that I missed the first time watching it.
Yeah, I think this is this was probably the match of the night for me. Like, it was hard to take your eyes off of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. As much as things can happen in a room where, especially like Kev, you got kids. I could see you standing there watching this match, your kid coming over and saying something and pushing him away, like, you come back later. You know what I mean? Like, it was that kind of like engrossing. I could even see when your kids running in. Yeah. I could even see your kids running in to say something and being distracted by this match and just honing in on it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just that level of, like, you cannot look away. This is some of the best doing what they do at the highest level they can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I watched it with my youngest son, and he loved it. He was watching it, and, he was trying to emulate Gunther's chops. And I was like, no, put your hand backwards, then do this. And he got pretty good. Scares me. But, yeah, this, just another thing that we talked about on our predictions that, hey, this could easily be match of the night. And I would put it up there with the, for the crowd, Drew and Roman, that was a great match as well. And most people ate that up. So,
oh yeah.
But yeah, if I had to vote, this would have been match of the night for me.
Dude, I had a project I was working on, and I fully said and expected and even told the person I was working on it with, hey, while Clash is going on, I'm going to be working on this project so I can, like, listen to it and do both. Clash was so good beginning to end that I didn't even sit in front of the computer. I had the computer set up. I was about to move over to it, and everything that kept happening, I just sat there, and I was like, oh, shit, well, probably the next match I'll just move over. And then and it was just every single match I just found myself just sitting there staring at it, and I was all like, I'll just stay up late and work on it through the night. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
there was no breath, there was no bathroom break match, it was just boom, 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 which is perfect for a premium live event. 6 matches in and out, and that's it.
Amazing. It was followed up. Now, this was the other thing. You guys are following Sheamus and Gunther trying to murder each other. Like, as much as people want to talk about how, like, Brock and Roman was at SummerSlam, I think you could have put this side by side with it and be like, you pick your favorite match of these two, and I think it's going to be tough. Like, this is one of the best matches of the entire year. You want to talk about follow that? That's a heavy pill to swallow for anybody. And who comes out but Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, SmackDown Women's Championship. We've talked about it going into it. This was This wasn't a bad story going in, but there was a lot of deflating moments where we kept feeling like our fave, the one we want to go, the one we want to see win, had quite an uphill battle just based off so many things. Like Liv Morgan truly being the underdog women's champion is a bit weird and kind of a hard pill to swallow. How are you a champion and an underdog? I'm going to be honest. I think this was one of both of theirs better matches on the main roster. Shayna's had incredible bangers in NXT. Not a ton of super notable matches on the main roster. She's had good matches. She's always had good matches. She's never bad. This is one of my favorite matches from both of them. I thought this was done really well. Liv got a believable win, being sneaky, fighting through it with all that heart. I've said it before. I think Liv is on the cusp of being a female Daniel Bryan-esque story, and I still feel that way. I was really happy with how it ended. I liked her sensational Sherry tribute gear, but I thought this match was great. I thought it was done really well. And again, another one I couldn't keep my eyes off of, and I was super happy to see Liv win. It was almost like I was like a sigh of relief when the bell rang. I was like, oh God, she got it, and it made sense, and it was believable, and she didn't do a weird thing, and they didn't bury anybody on the way there.
Yeah. And this was the match that we talked about. We talked that Liv needs a definitive win. She needed to look good, and she did. She delivered. Her and Shayna had a great match. A little disappointing for Shayna because Shayna seems like she's right there to be women's champion a couple times and then just nothing.
Yes. Which is why I was hoping that, especially if Liv is going to move on, and especially if we've got Ronda building a story against Adam Pearce, why I was especially hoping we could have seen a little something of Shayna and Ronda one more time. If we could move Ronda into a storyline against Shayna, that doesn't need a title.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we do things, and this who have you become storyline, Yeah. You used to be a killer, Ronda said the last time they saw each other. Mm-hmm. They could have planted a seed here where Shayna is trying to get Ronda to shape up and not ruin this for herself, and Ronda being like, you used to be a killer. You could have a whole program there where they end up teaming at the end of it out of oh yeah, you've made me remember I'm a killer. And this could be a good pivoting point for that too. You lost to Liv Morgan of all people. Yeah. Really just shit on Liv for no good reason. But you could do it to build that other storyline. Liv can go on to build her credibility in the next storyline with somebody else. And you could build a killer team there. Yeah, that's a bit of a thing. Go ahead, Grim.
Yeah. So this is the first that I've actually taken, I see Shayna Baszler. Let's go on her set for a second. This is the first time I actually saw her depicted as this killer badass since before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. I was at Elimination Chamber 2020, March. It was the beginning of March, right before everything shut down. I was in Philly at the Wells Fargo Center. And I remember she was in that Elimination Chamber, and when she came out, she was ripping up, throwing body parts through the Elimination Chamber. There was like a horror match Elimination Chamber by the time she was done, tapping everybody out. Her and Natalya were at the end, makes mincemeat of her, dominant win to be the number one contender going into WrestleMania. So she was just a killer. And then you kind of you go through the pandemic. She lost to Becky at that WrestleMania, but you kind of roll on from there. And then she gained up steam again when she teamed with Nia Jax, and they were the tag team champs. They were pretty good for the most part. They had a good reign, 4 months. They beat Charlotte and Asuka and all that. So about 4 months or so, they had a good reign, and then she just was kind of floating around, kind of just getting beat a lot, not on TV a lot, or she was losing to Sasha or Naomi or something, just in obscurity. And it wasn't until just over the last few months that she's really picked it up with just being that badass again. I mean, I wanted her to be in that, Marsh, as you said, her run in NXT was monumental. It was 500 days or something like that, just unreal. Mm-hmm. So just for her to have, or combined reign, right? But just overall, I'm glad that Shayna's been put in that light. And if they're going to throw her in with Rousey, especially when, we're heading over to Saudi soon. We have Survivor Series in Boston coming up. Those would be some banger matches too.
Yeah.
But then on the Liv side of the equation, this was a statement win. There wasn't a fluky tap out pin at the same time, or this wasn't she is now being depicted as like this is building her confidence. This is a huge win, definitive win, no foot on the ropes. It was oblivion. I got the 1, 2, 3. This was a very big statement win for Liv, and let's see how she rolls in moving into the end of the year.
I agree. This was the win that she needed, because especially after that tap out loss to Ronda, where she retained and there was no good explanation and all of that, they needed to do, like you said, a statement win. So I think really well done by all parties. And I think this is one I think you got to keep Ronda and Liv apart from each other for a little while. You got to get Liv built up a new credibility before even trying to even go back down that road of you tapped out to me. Like, let's revisit that at like a Rumble or Survivor Series or something. Like, let's move it a few months out, But that's my thought on that. Judgment Day against Edge and Mysterio. Look, this was a good match.
Yeah.
The Dominic turn made no sense in this moment. I know we've been building towards Dominic turn, and we've talked about it. For one, I don't need it. I don't care to see Dominic pretend to not respect his dad anymore. Your dad's goddamn Rey Mysterio, and you want me to think that you've had it with the old man when he's like clearly still on top of his game? Like, I'm not buying any of that to begin with. Second to that, in this match, Dominic cheats to help his dad win. Dominic starts to get his ass beat by Rhea in this match. Rey saves his son, leaves the match to save his son, who then also cheats to help his dad win. And then, after that, now Dom's had enough. Now he doesn't respect these guys anymore. Now he's going to kick them in the balls. There's absolutely no sense to this in this moment. What I think would have made this made no sense to me, because the other thing is that they're celebrating. Rey and Edge are celebrating the win. Dom is mopey. He walks around the outside of the ring. He gets up on the ring apron and kind of like leans in but doesn't. He kind of climbs in the ropes and then stands towards the back. He is adamantly staying away from them, because I heard someone say, oh, they won't even celebrate with him. They're pushing him away. No, they didn't. He never got near him.
I think that's what they were trying to portray, but it didn't come out that way.
It didn't come out that way at all. What I would have liked to have seen, which would have made any sense at all, when at some point, like let's say Rey saves Rhea or saves Dom from Rhea. Imagine he gets up and he's holding his head because maybe Rey knocked into both of them, and he just kind of turns around, looks at all of them, and just kind of like puts his hands up and says, fucking forget it, waves at them and walks away holding his head. What was that? Why did Dom just walk away? You know what I mean? And then let them finish the match, and then he's just gone. It's like, well, that was weird. He just stormed off. What was that about? And then explain it on Monday, because now we go to Monday, he's got a greased up mullet, and suddenly Rhea's all like, yo, I've been fucking your boy.
Yeah.
And Rey's all like, what? And then Dom's like, yeah, I like getting the shit kicked out of me, and then we go fucking. It's really weird. I made a man out of him. Like, what is going on here? And she's like, finally, I gave him some hair gel. His nappy mullet's now greased back. And then now he's just with Judgment Day, who was laughing at them, who was beating the shit out of him. Like, I'm not saying you couldn't have got there, but I'm saying in this moment, it didn't make any sense, because it felt like they were trying so hard to be the swerve that you don't expect that it just didn't even make sense contextually. You could have easily done a few things that could have made sense contextually.
Yeah, I mean, there should have been more of a build-up during the match.
Yes.
A little bit of an argument. Edge might be maybe telling Dom, hey, stay over there. Just get out of here. Like, I got this type of thing. But yeah, it was. I think they were, like I said, I think that's what they were trying to portray, that they were celebrating, like, Dom goes to give his dad a hug and his dad walks around him and gives Edge a hug. Like, if there was something like that I could see, but like you said, Dom was just standing there mopey while the other two celebrated. And then on Monday, they just didn't explain anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, Dom didn't even talk at all. But if he needs to say, like, hey, like, I was pissed. That was my moment. This should have been, one of the moments I had with my dad, and you took that away from me. That's why, like, I still think he shouldn't have turned on Ray. I think he could have kicked Edge in the balls, and then Ray, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then, him just walking away.
Yeah,
but
just walk away. Pie face him, just whatever. Push him back a little bit.
I did like Judgment Day in the corner after losing, just laughing. Like hyenas. Yeah.
Because I saw someone else try to say, well, Edge came out in a mask and Dom never earned his mask, so Edge didn't earn his, so he's probably feeling... Well, he can say stuff like that, but also Edge came out in a devil mask and took it off immediately. Yeah. He wasn't out there calling himself Edge Mysterio. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make sense in that regard. Like, there was too much stuff going on where Dom was still on the side of both Edge and Ray and helping them and being saved by them and them fighting on his behalf for him to just be all like, fuck it. I hate you guys. It just, for me, the context was absolutely missing. Like you said, Dominic not saying anything for all of Raw. Rhea just saying, I fucked him. So that's where we're at now. It just feels to me like you could have easily gotten there in a way that made sense, and you decided to go a different way. Grim, what kind of stupid take do you have on this?
I agree with you, Marsh, so it must be so.
All right, cool.
And
you're fine. I'm going to keep you on.
Okay. Here's what I was going to say before that. So when we look at this, I feel like just looking at, over the last few months, especially since Edge has been back and Mysterio's and Edge teaming up and everything. Okay. I wanted this turn for Dominic. I mean, we've been calling for it for a while now, since episode 1. Yes, the details as to how it happened or why it happened or whatever, I think it could have been a little stronger than, well, Daddy and his best friend don't care, or Daddy's not giving me the attention, he's giving his best friend the attention. I follow that a little bit. You're right. That could have been hammered down a little bit more with some of the, the dialogue and everything, or just like the actions of the match. But I'm just happy that they did the damn thing and just pull the ripcord, turn them bad, get them in with the group, get them in with, with the group and everything. And, it's tale as old as time, father and son, brother versus brother, and I know I'm kind of skipping along in the chapters here. There is going to be a moment of redemption, prodigal son type of thing where, maybe by WrestleMania, Dom sees the light, reunites with his dad again kind of thing, something like that. But yes, I felt like this was just too wishy-washy the past couple months. I know Triple H is the fan of the slow burn, but the pot's been on too long. The water's boiling over. So I'm just glad they flipped the switch. Let's just move on from here with Dom as a bad guy.
Yeah, I guess I just also don't buy Dom as a bad guy.
His hair's slicked back, bro. Okay?
His hair's totally slicked back now. There's just some people like Bobby Lashley didn't make a very good bad guy. That's why he needed MVP. Because the way that he talks and is in real life, you go, oh, that's a really good person who's very caring and considers other people all the time. It's one of the reasons why I don't think John Cena ever went heel, was because I don't think John Cena can be heel. Like, it's not believable. You know what I mean? And I don't think Dom's going to make a very believable heel. You already know he's a good dude. You know he's a good kid who's super appreciative of every moment he has out there. And you can tell he's trying so damn hard to do this to the best of his ability and get better every time. And now you want me to boo him because he's fucking Rhea Ripley? That's weird.
Well, that's the thing too. It could be a fact of influence. Especially in our think about it for ourselves in the lowest point of life. Sometimes if you find kind of an escape, whether it's good or bad. In this case for Dom, Daddy's not showing me love. I'm gonna go with Rhea. Instead of just that whole who's your poppy. You heard the crowd chanting on Raw. So just. Even if that card is played, that Rhea Ripley has brainwashed Dom and everything, okay, then take us on the ride. And, then, one Raw, one pay-per-view, he does the single concerto to Rey Mysterio to knock him out of action for a few months or something. Like, let's just start building it. But they had to start with him being a bad guy first. Let him ramp up from here, but the turn had to be done.
See, I think what they're doing is, they're doing the heel turn, which is fine, but I think it's Edge's attempt to dismember the Judgment Day by putting in a, spy, basically.
Trojan horse.
Yeah. I think that's where they're going to go with it, but who knows?
Wouldn't be so bad. But then he's beating the shit out of his dad all the time and kicking Edge in the balls. And then it's kind of like, yeah, we just did that to fool him. I don't know if I'm fooling, how much I'm fooling around if someone keeps kicking me in the balls. I'd be like, dude, they get it. They get it. Stop.
That's when we see the behind the scenes stuff and he pulls out a fucking jock strap.
Yeah.
Real quick, did you see the meme that was out there about Ray, when Ray gets betrayed on, it's always with a clothesline?
Yeah.
Dom clotheslined him, Batista clotheslined him, and it wasn't Edge. It was Eddie. Eddie clotheslined him.
Eddie.
That was the first attack after they would turn on Ray.
Well, he's easy to clothesline, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last match we haven't talked about on Clash, and then we'll talk a little bit about the stuff that happened on Raw, was Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle.
Marsh, real quick. Are the cameras on? The cameras on, Mark?
Yeah.
Marsh, you're talking about my family? I'm going to talk about your...
Oh, yeah. Is the camera still on?
Is the camera still on? Are we still doing this? Okay.
And then I says, bitch ass. Little bitch ass.
You want to know if I said bitch? I'm saying it now.
Yeah. I really liked that Seth Rollins won. I thought it was pretty gnarly how on that final kick, Riddle's head actually swelled up. Like, he ate a stomp. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a solid match. It was really good. I don't want to downplay it at all. I don't know that it was more than I expected. You know what I mean? It was pretty much exactly what I expected out of the match, and it was good. It felt a little... Here's the struggle, right? When you're as good as they are, there's a certain level of expectation that you're already expected. So this match, by all accounts, is an incredible match. With the other matches over-delivering what you expected, to me, it was just a match that did what it was supposed to do. And I don't mean that disrespectfully at all. This was an amazing match that I don't feel like over-delivered, and maybe it's because our expectations are so high for those two already. You know what I mean?
But my thing with that is we saw the live events and the Smackdown Dark matches with them where most people didn't.
No, it's true too.
Most people didn't only saw basically this match.
That's true.
You know, because there's all the build up to, the build up to SummerSlam was there, and then nothing at SummerSlam. You know, and like I said, we saw the dark matches and the live matches and stuff like that. So I think that's why, you know, you feel that way.
And I'm again not trying to downplay it. This was like an A+ match. It just is in the middle of a bunch of matches that over-delivered. You're kind of going in there like, I wonder why, maybe this or that. This was when we were like, okay, this match is going to be great. And then you watch it go, yep, great match. Like, it's a little bit paint by numbers by some of the greatest painters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt weird about it because it was like I didn't feel like this was the best match of the show. I felt like that you kind of go in there and be like, oh, this might steal the match of the night. And then the other one's all over-delivered to such a point where it's all like, man, that's actually like a good thing when you think about it. The card was so good that Riddle versus Rollins was probably not the best match of the night, only because it was as good as you expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And
Trying to make sense of the way that I'm saying it so it doesn't sound like I'm trashing him, because I'm not. This was amazing.
right,
You know?
you expected it to be I don't say 5-star match, but let's go with that. It's a 5-star match. Okay, they delivered a 5-star match. Great. Liv versus Shayna, 3-star, maybe. They went 3.5, 4 stars. Like, whatever you want to say. Like, I get what you're saying, Marsh, with that. Just, you go into it. Now, luckily, though, there hasn't been a match on the card that was supposed to be 4 or 5-star and was actually downgraded. Like 3, they only gave us a 3. Like, what the heck happened or whatever. So, there wasn't, at least nobody sloped down.
Yes.
It was all either you were at the level you're supposed to be at, which was phenomenal for them, versus, hey, you overachieved, or hey, I didn't know this was even going to happen, like Gunther and Sheamus just blowing us all away.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, it was just weird because at the end of it, I didn't feel the same way I felt about the other matches. And I think that it boils down to it was as good as I expected and not better than I expected. And all the other ones were better than I expected. So somehow, in a sense, this was the least of the matches to me, only in that it didn't blow me away the way that the other ones did because of my expectations being lower for them. And which I think is kind of an interesting thing to think about with like Rollins and Riddle. You're now at a place where you're so expected so much. How do you get to that point where you're blowing people away again? Because we already know you're going to be this fucking good every time. You know what I mean? It's not a bad problem to have when people expect highly of you and you do highly. Kev, what'd you think?
No, like I said, I love the match. I love both guys. Big fan. And, I was expecting a lot, and I think they delivered, and I wasn't disappointed like you. Like, I know where you're coming from, where, like,
Yeah, I wouldn't even say
similar to, like,
but just not
No, well,
overwhelmed.
it didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, how many times do you there's a movie that comes out, and then they make a sequel, and it's like, well, I was expecting this, it was a good movie, but,
Yeah.
it's not as good as the first type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But like, I liked it. I thought this was going to be the end. So to see, Riddle wanting a match, Seth turning it down, it's really scratching my head, like,
Yeah.
where they're going with it, if it is the end or not. But
I really hope that Seth doesn't give him the match. I hope that they let this be the end for a while. I hope that like, here's what I hope happens. I hope Seth says no. Here's what I think could happen. In a backyard wrestling scenario, if I were Tony Khan playing with toys, and if my toys actually behaved, there's a world where Seth says no to Riddle. I'm not giving you this. Riddle hates Seth now. It's always a thorn in his side. Anytime they cross paths, they avoid it. By Seth saying no, always. There's a world where Seth actually gets one or both of the titles off of Roman. And then there's a world where Riddle wins the Rumble and goes after Rollins, and Rollins doesn't have a say anymore. And now you have Rollins and Riddle in WrestleMania for a title. And you potentially, like Bishop is saying in the chat, even throw it in a fight pit. Make it one step even more, Like, I wouldn't be against it.
So I was looking at just because I just want to see just how I'm looking at all the matches like on databases here that Seth Rollins has been doing because Seth Rollins' body work over the last 2 years has been impeccable. I mean, him working with Edge coming out of retirement, him working with Cody coming into the company. So Rollins' work has just been awesome. But I'm seeing here I think this might be the crescendo at Extreme Rules as their like third match, their blow-off match, because it looks like here over the summer, they were doing live events, and all of the live events between Riddle and Rollins were street fights.
Yep.
Yeah,
It looks like here. So, yeah, and it's like literally since from June to August, it's been Riddle's been winning those live events, obviously send the crowd home happy, but all street fights. So I'm assuming this is like a build up to what they were doing. And literally he started working with Riddle right after the match with Cody in Hell in a Cell. Yeah. That next week he was already working with Riddle. So this whole summer they've been working together. So this would be a great crescendo to their feud, and let's see who comes out on top at this point.
Yeah.
Well, and like Marsh said, I could definitely see the long-term booking here, where Seth closes the book on this chapter, but Riddle never does and keeps it open, and finally does come back around with for a belt or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, I'm curious to see where they go.
It gets weird though when you talk about family, like the wife and kid. Like I understand the divorce and the whole thing, but then when the bad guy talks about the family in that derogatory sense, the wife or the husband, like, you start coming in all that, the good guy needs to get their comeuppance. Like, I understand they had a banger match and everything, but for Riddle, though, just to be like, well, Rollins said all of that dastardly stuff when we were off air, Riddle has to get that moment back to defend his family, rather, for what it's worth, just to get that back, essentially, from Rollins saying that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we saw a few of those. I think you could either do Extreme Rules. You also could still live in a world where at Mania they blow it off in an Extreme Rules type match, But, let's see. Yeah, but then that was Clash. I think we covered all Clash. You want to talk some Raw? We can get a little bit of Raw in there.
Yeah. That's good.
Some of the big takeaways from Raw, it opened up with it had a few things, but one of the things that was early on was the fatal four-way tag match that involved Braun Strowman making his big return and beating the absolute shit out of the entire tag team division for no reason. I remember when they were all coming out to the ring, I was like, I don't know why we're having this fatal four-way match. This doesn't make a ton of sense, but, it'd probably be good. We're going to have a number one contender, I guess, at the end of it. And then Braun came out, and I was like, oh, cool, Braun's back. And then as soon as I saw what he was walking out to, I went, wait a second. Did we put the whole tag division out there just to make the tag division look like shit real quick for Braun's sake? Are we again sacrificing the tag team division for sake of Braun Strowman? And it's not that I don't want Braun Strowman back, and it's not that I don't like Braun. But to caveat...
go ahead. Sorry.
Just to caveat just a second on him destroying the tag division. Yes, this is what Braun Strowman does, but he didn't look... I mean, his beard was shorter, but that was like... And he was in great shape. But everything he did in his movements, in his actions, with his music, everything was the same. Like, there was nothing new. There wasn't like... I mean, his pants were red, I guess, but like it felt like I would have liked at least different music. Maybe if he didn't do the running around the ring, he wouldn't have slipped. He could have done something we haven't seen him do. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like we were watching a clip from 5 years ago and not like we got reintroduced into a big star. Like, this isn't Hogan coming back and doing the leg drop. This is Braun Strowman coming back and running around the ring. And I was like,
doing the choo-choo train.
Choo-choo. Choo-choo.
Strowman Express. We missed that, Marsh. So, I mean, when I look at that...
do something that made him look a little bit different, a little newer, a little fresher. But this felt like same old, same old. That was the only bummer to me, was that, like, you're back, but same old, same old. So,
yeah.
It's not like with Cross. Cross came back and you're like, oh, this is different. This is new. This is a different Cross. You know? Even like Gargano coming back, you're like, okay, this is a different kind of Gargano. This is much more whiny, much more shittier. You know what I mean? It's something different.
How dare you? How dare you? So, when you look at Braun Strowman coming back, I agree with you, Marsh. against the tag division, interrupt the 24/7 match or something. Like, just, get the 24/7 guys out there in a rando tag match or something, because if you look at it, you need to build up a team to be formidable against the Usos. The Usos are starting to go into that territory of Roman, where it's who's really going to team up? Who do you think is actually going to have a chance to beat the Usos in a tag team match, other than some type of super team where you have to take two number one guys in like a heavyweight title division or something to go against the Usos? Like, you have to team up Rollins and Riddle to face the Usos or something down the line, or whatever. So you're totally trashing your tag division, where one monster, which, by the way, his new moniker now, I believe, it's not just Monster Among Men, it's the Monster of all the Monsters.
Yeah.
Okay,
he's
so
Monster of Monsters now.
Monster of Monsters Inc. or whatever it is. So, but just so looking at that, but then you're right though. Maybe add a little bit more to his character. I know it was a shock moment. He's back. It was in June of last year he was released, so it's been a little over a year now. So just giving him the opportunity to come back is great. We'll see what he does on SmackDown. What kind of impact he'll make there. But yeah, at least, hey, he's an Impact player. You can automatically put him into some type of, high level profile match, because he has the clout. He has the, the pedigree to do that, based on his history. And then you just look at, again, I hope there's just some type of refresh or restart with the tag division to start generating some viable challengers for the Usos.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. Like, I think something needed to be different. Yeah. When people are publicly let go, they come back with a different edge to them or a different look and stuff like that. And Strowman literally, it feels like he was injured and came back right. Like, he never left the company. I hate that they shat on the entire tag division. Like you guys said, always wish for Strowman, but I don't know what other spot you have him come back on if you're bringing him back on, Monday show on Raw.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's going to go straight after Roman?
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Roman for a little while. Take a breather. He had 2 big shows in a row. He might be on just a little bit of a breather for now. But maybe down the line, maybe like Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble's in. It's actually, we just announced today. It's in the Alamo Dome in Texas again. So that just got dropped today. So maybe that's a big show. You'll have Braun Strowman versus Roman, perhaps. Or again, Survivor Series is in Boston. I know we wanted that Bloodline 5-on-5, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Strowman could be inserted anywhere.
I could see Braun, because it does sound like he's going to be on SmackDown. He said he's going to be on SmackDown. It sounds like he might be a SmackDown talent, was just appearing on Raw just for the sake of it, just to destroy that whole division for no good reason real quick.
Right.
But I could see him going through Drew, letting Drew be back on the decline a little bit, then getting his shot at Roman as Drew rebuilds himself up for Roman, because I do think we're probably getting like a Drew Roman at a Mania, if not Rock. I think that'd be their second option there, or even a Drew Roman at I guess you could do Rumble, but I think you do Braun in between.
Yes.
Braun does Drew and then Roman, and then you get back to a Drew and Roman sort of storyline.
Cool.
I feel like. But yeah, I think they're going to put him pretty big pretty quick, and I don't know why he's destroying the tag division. You know what I would have liked? And this is a thought that I had. That's good. Fabtina says, boo the Drew. I would have liked to... and maybe they could still get there, because theoretically he destroyed the tag division, right? Why would he destroy the tag division if he's not a tag guy? Unless he's just being a dick. So... what if he had come back and maybe still is, and we'll see what happens on SmackDown, with Bray. What if Bray...
That's a cool idea.
And not in a rehashing the old family. I don't want Bray coming back with a fucking fedora, talking like he's from, Creole, Louisiana anymore. I'm not saying rewind it, but change it, because both those guys can do enough to change. I'm not saying even black sheep mask or anything. Instead of he's my follower, it's now we're equals. Instead of this is the guy I've brought along and brought up, it's this is also a former Universal Champion. We are two former Universal Champions teaming up with a history in a new way, and give Bray and Braun a little bit of a fresh coat of paint. Give a little bit of a change to Braun where it makes sense for him to be with this new version of Bray,
So, like, Strowman should have come back out of the swamp.
Yes.
That Bray, that the Fiend pulled him into at the end of their match, at the end of their feud. He comes up from the bayou, whatever it was, and then now he's with Bray. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying, and also that would revitalize the tag team division. I could see them facing the Usos.
Exactly. That could be scary for the Usos if you have Braun and Bray down the line. And that would not fare very well for Roman, because both those dudes don't like Roman storyline-wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fabtina does say Strowman was at his most creative with Bray. That's true, too, as they were building towards the Swamp Thing. The stuff that Braun and Bray were doing together was some of the best stuff Braun's ever done, even though it didn't quite click. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see. As we keep moving along through Raw, Aaliyah and Raquel defeated Doudrop and Nikki. Kev, you were asking me before if Aaliyah was out of this match, a lot of it. And the answer is yes and no. It was too short of a match for her to be out that long. She was knocked out, but towards the end of the match, she was getting involved ringside a lot, which is what helped them get the win. Raquel ended up getting I call it the Tijuana drop, because I think it's Tijana. But she gets the Tijana drop on Doudrop, because Doudrop's going to the top rope. That's when Raquel grabs her arm through her legs and then carries her over and does the drop that way. Really impressive. Still looked fantastic. But Aaliyah was doing a lot on the outside to keep the fight on the inside, more or less. So, yeah, Aaliyah wasn't in the match. She didn't get the pin this time, but the match was also pretty short. It was like 5-6 minutes long. It was not much. So, but yeah, it's a win for the tag champs, and hopefully we see something more. And we'll talk about it later tomorrow, but Nikki and Doudrop won a match on NXT, which was really cool. And shout out to Nikki Cross. I did a drawing of her. She retweeted it. It's not that hard to just be nice to fans who put hours and hours of work into little things.
Cool.
And drawings for a few people who do not retweet, and it's like, you don't even like what the hell? Go ahead.
What was going to happen there was when Raquel dropped the Texana bomb, then Strowman should have come out.
Yes.
They're taking care of the tag division.
Yep.
Got to keep it rolling,
Uh-huh. But that was good, so we'll see what happens with the tag division there. Austin Theory versus Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is fucking incredible.
I love Cam.
He's just so good. I've seen people complain that sometimes he's like, quote, too inside baseball when he says shit like, this is the part where the ref comes out, or this is the part. Am I the only one who pays attention? This is where we just say, let's just fight, And I feel like Kevin Owens, more than anybody, more than CM Punk ever was. You want to talk about the voice of the voiceless? Kevin Owens is the voice of the fans so often, because he is a fan through and through for so long that he doesn't talk down to someone by saying, we've all been doing this a long time enough to know this is how we're going to solve this, and this is how I'm going to say it. And he says it in such a playful enough way that it's not talking down, it's talking with. You know what I mean? I feel like he's constantly the voice of the viewer.
He's always had that narrative.
Yeah.
Always had it. When he was going to go, I forget who he was facing, but it was a contract signing. He's like, I'm not going down to that ring, because you know what happens with contract signings? One of us is going through that table or something. Like, just that's always been his shtick.
Yep. There's a KO show where someone was saying something. He goes, "Oh, don't bring them up, because then you know what's just gonna." And then their music plays, and he's like, "See,
Yeah.
I tried to tell you." Like, he's so great with that. And then this match was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens got the win, so we're still burying Theory, and I don't know what's happening with him, but
It's so weird.
it's really weird.
Not to derail too much, but just not that this show is not about derailing at all. I mean, sheesh. When does Theory cash in? Like, I understand it's only been a few months and we have a whole 6 months to go, 7 months to go yet. Just and you know what? I don't want him to lose. I mean, he is a heel, so maybe he wins by the sneaky triple threat a la Rollins at WrestleMania, but it's going to be a sneaky. I just hope he doesn't lose it. I just don't know when he's going to be able to slip this one in.
Here's the problem, is that Roman's not only the most dominant person in the history of wrestling, but because he's the most dominant person in the history of wrestling, all of his challengers have to be believably equally dominant. Problem is Theory's never been equally dominant. So the thought is always, oh, who is he going to cash in on when they're facing Roman? Not when he's going to cash in on Roman. Who's he going to cash in on that will be facing Roman? Someone's going to have to get into a match with Roman that doesn't belong there for Theory to be believably cashing in. Because he wasn't going to believably cash in on Brock, Roman, or Drew. He just wasn't, because those guys were all been booked like they are unstoppable forces of nature. So you're going to need, like, a Sami Zayn to have a match for no good reason. For Theory to come in and cash in on. You know what I mean? Like,
okay,
that's what makes it so difficult, is it's not waiting for when, it's waiting for who. Who's going to end up in a match with Roman who doesn't belong there?
Yeah.
And it's tough, because how are you going to book a pay-per-view premium live event, main event, around the idea that this person doesn't belong there and got a shot for no reason? And I don't think you do it through Rumble and Mania. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something else.
Yeah. All right.
But KO is amazing, and I like him winning. Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio is pretty cool.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Talked about the Bailey stuff. Hold on, before we get to main event, I feel like I'm missing something. Let me scroll through one more time.
I did like that Dakota brought up that she wasn't the legal one in her match.
Right.
So, you know, that they're having a match on next Monday.
Yes. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder. But yeah, I think that was fantastic.
And that storytelling has been consistent, you know, when was it one of the Street Profits that had their shoulders up and they had the rematch the next pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, yeah, same thing. Like, just, the referee missed it or the referee made a mistake. Got to have a rematch. So that's been a consistent narrative over the last half year.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, well, I guess last thing is just the main event. Bobby Lashley versus The Miz, United States Championship in the cage. Kev,
It was weird.
What?
There's no build up to it.
Okay, you're frozen. I think your headphones probably tried to reconnect or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I can hear you just fine. So either way, you could just keep doing.
I don't care. Great, I can take my pants off.
All right, there you go. Get them off. What do you think of this main event? Cage match, Bobby Lashley, Miz.
I liked it. I liked the match, but I just didn't understand the premise of it being in a cage for no reason. Miz challenges Bobby to a cage match. And yeah, they're just like, okay, sounds good. Do it.
Yeah, it was dumb. The idea was to keep Dexter Lumis out. The Miz is afraid of his constant abuse by Dexter. This constant thing of I don't want to talk about it just gets real Hyde and Reiki to me. It's really weird and uncomfortable in that it's not believable and it's overproduced. I mean, we talked about it before that I think every time Dexter Lumis is involved at this point, the filming of it gets so cartoonishly cinematic with live TV that it pulls me away from it in its entirety, that Miz begins to act so cartoonishly over the top that it pulls me even further out of it, that by the time you get to the end of the match, you knew what was going to happen. You were waiting for Dexter to pop up from underneath the ring. But the only issue I had with the match itself was at one point Bobby Lashley tried to leave the ring, and he comes off as more of a fighter than someone who's willing to escape. He did get the win. I didn't like any of the Dexter stuff, but that's kind of all I got to say about that, that it was Dexter doing his thing. We still have no reason why. There's not even close to an explanation. As soon as the match is over, you actually watch Ciampa walk away towards the back for absolutely no reason. It was kind of messy for the sake of making it silly. And I didn't need that at the main event. I think Bobby Lashley deserves better than to be overshadowed by a Dexter Lumis joke. But Graham, what'd you think about it?
Oh, I like because usually the steel cage is for, like in this case for the Miz, he's the champion and he keeps getting counted out or disqualified. I'm going to get you in the cage, Miz. You can't run away from me like this. Usually that's how I would see the cage being used. I also appreciate, to keep Dexter out kind of thing, keep all interference out, You're right. I agree with you. The Wile E. Coyote cam from the top, zooming in on Dexter going into underneath the ring, that did kind of, there's a weird angle. I'm like, did they have a camera up there the whole time? Did they have like super zoom? Like, I gotta see what that setup was. Also, Tommaso Ciampa got his first name back.
Yeah.
So that's a win. And just it rolls off the tongue, Tommaso Ciampa, like it's one word, it's like one name in itself anyway. So, but yeah, the match was solid. I mean, Miz and Lashley have been wrestling each other for 15 years now, so they know how to go back and forth with each other. And just overall, I mean, Lashley winning obviously was the move here, and to see Miz and Dexter Lumis have a match coming up again, probably Extreme Rules. That'll be something. I think though also I saw something kicking around online about potentially, having an Index reunion. Marsh, I know you're all on top of it. It'd be your favorite storyline going into maybe Extreme Rules. So I don't know if you wanted to comment on that, but apparently, Indy Hartwell might make her debut over the next couple of weeks as well. Any comment, Marsh?
Yeah, I think that'd be the worst way to introduce her. It was really unfortunate because with Indy, she was doing well enough that you're kind of like excited to see her learn and grow, and she's in there because she's a fan of Bayley and Sasha, and everything they've done with her and Dexter has pulled away from anything that she could do in ring or that she could do acting wise, and it's just been like unwatchably bad. Which also is weird is that the Miz and Bobby were actually having a match that I was really enjoying. And I actually was laughing at the way that Miz was selling. I thought he was doing a pretty good job. And then we get to the Dexter stuff and it goes, oh yeah, wait, this is all pretty stupid and funny. And it's bad comedy with bad acting. And I just think that it'd be really unfortunate. I think that if they introduced Indy in such a terrible way, it's going to be an uphill battle, I think, at that point, to be honest. I know that the internet wrestling community loves the Dexter stuff. I don't know anybody who is outside of the internet wrestling community that didn't watch everything of NXT who is liking or understanding anything about Dexter. A lot of people I've been seeing are just like, yeah, I don't get that shit. I don't even like it, And so it's like, you're doing it for a hardcore niche audience and people who like bad comedy, and that's not me.
Then you're going to get Indy and Maurice.
Oh,
yeah, that's going to be a 5-star classic.
Mixed tag match. Yeah.
Well, one thing at a time. Let's get Indy to debut first. But
yes.
I think the call out was there was a ghost face mask out in the crowd, and people, I don't know, people are just trying to pull stuff out of the sky here, but why someone would be allowed to wear a mask in the arena is another reason. But anyway, that is something to think about.
Some arenas, they make you wear a mask.
That's true. Yep.
And
anything else from either of you guys ready for last call?
I'm
I
ready.
feel like we covered it all.
Yeah.
Whew, that and then some.
Yep. And then if you guys stay liked and subscribed and getting your notifications, me and Miss Amanda Jane, it looks like she will be home and ready by the time Dynamite starts. So I think we are going to go live at the start of Dynamite. We're going to talk about the scrum. We're going to keep one eye on Dynamite and find out what are they going to announce about all this. It's really funny and unfortunate for them that they're probably going to get some of their highest ratings based off people wanting to see how they deal with what is an absolute actual mess, and not because of anything they've done booking wise, but because that the wheels have fallen off. We'll see how they follow that up. Kev, any final thoughts, final words?
No, that should do it.
Grim, thank you for coming through, having a drink with us.
Of course.
You want to tell people where they can find you?
Find me in the comment section.
That's
Wrestling on the Rocks. Just say glad to be a part of the show, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you guys for being our drinking buddy tonight. We are at WRTO the show. WOTR the show. We will be back a little later on tonight for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, that's the last call.
1.
Cheers.
Us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch, or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.